Hello everyone, welcome back to Tech Tutorials. In this video, we'll understand how caching works in Looker and how data groups help you control cache refresh using LookML. If you want faster dashboards without sacrificing data freshness, this topic is extremely important. By the end of this video, you'll clearly know when Looker uses cache, how data groups work, and how to implement them correctly. How caching works in Looker. Looker acts like a front door attendant for a database. When a user runs a query, Looker determines whether the exact same query has been run before. If not, it allows the query to run on the database. When the results are returned, Looker caches them for future reference. If the same query has been run before, Looker checks the caching policy to determine whether the results are still valid. If yes, Looker returns the cached results to the business user. This happens in less than a second. If the same query has been run before, but the results are no longer valid per the caching policy, Looker sends the query to the database. It then caches the new results for future reference. Data groups. A data group is the Looker term for a named caching policy or rule. LookML developers use data groups to manage caching on a Looker instance. Different caching policies require separate data group definitions. The number and types of data groups you need to create depends on your data's extraction, transformation, and loading ETL, processes, and business requirements. For example, you may need to define data groups at the model level for individual explores or for persistent derived tables, PDTs, depending on how often your data is updated. To apply a data group as the default for all explores, use the persist_with parameter at the model level. To apply a data group to a specific explore, use the persist_with parameter in that explore's definition. To apply a data group to a specific set of explores, but not all explores in a model, use the persist_with parameter in each explore's definition and specify the same data group name. Objects that can use data groups. Persist_with. If you apply a data group at the model level, Looker, by default, will apply the same caching rules to all explores within this model. However, you can apply a data group on an individual explore, which overrides any setting at the model level. Because explores are the foundation for all content, the same caching logic applies to looks and dashboards in the explore. Data group_trigger. For PDTs, you can apply a data group to specify how the PDT is rebuilt. Schedules. Schedules for looks and dashboards can also be run on data groups. You can instruct Looker to run a look or dashboard automatically upon expiration of a caching policy, so new data is retrieved and pre-cached for any business users who need it. Data group configuration. Data groups take two parameters, max_cache_age and SQL_trigger. Max_cache_age specifies the number of hours to keep a cached result, such as 24 hours.SQL_trigger is used to write a select statement that can tell Looker whether the results have changed. The SQL_trigger should be written to return only one value. Looker will regularly send this statement to the connected database. If the result has changed, Looker refreshes the cache. Although only one parameter is required, it is best to use both to achieve the desired caching results. For example, if the SQL_trigger check doesn't detect a change, that could mean something went wrong with the ETL process or the SQL_trigger itself. If you include a max_cache_age parameter, the cache will be refreshed after a set duration regardless of the result of the SQL_trigger check. Apply a data group to an explore. Define and apply data groups to individual explores in a LookML model. Specifically, you update caching for all views in the order items explore to refresh whenever a new order_item_id is added, because the order_item_id is the primary key for order items. Open the model. Click the toggle button to enter development mode. On the Develop tab, select the QuickLabs e-commerce LookML project. Open the training_e-commerce.model file. Notice that this model file has a default data group with a max_cache_age of 1 hour. Whenever you create a new LookML project by having Looker generate the model from the database schema, Looker automatically creates a default data group with the name of the model, in this case training_ecommerce, followed by _default_data group. Delete the default data group and replace it. Because this default data group is currently defined at the model level, it is applied to all explores defined in the model. You want to apply the data group to the explore, so you must remove the default one and update it accordingly. To complete the definition of the new data group, you need to provide values for the two parameters, SQL_trigger and max_cache_age. Delete the default data group and the persist_with definition to create a new data group for a specific explore, such as order items. For the SQL_trigger, to select the maximum ID for order_item_id, enter the following code. Set the max_cache_age so that caching will continue to refresh every or even if there is an issue with data updates. Enter the following code. Apply the data group. Note that configuring a data group by itself doesn't do anything. It is a two-step process. After defining the data group, you need to apply the data group to an object by using a parameter called persist_with. To apply the data group to the definition for the order items explore, click Save Changes. Click Validate LookML and then click Commit Changes and Push. Add a commit message and click Commit. Lastly, click Deploy to Production. If you found this video helpful, like, subscribe, and share. Let me know in the comments if you want a deep dive into data groups with DBT or PDTs. Thanks for watching.